Welcome to the Saxon Show, your countdown to the future. First, I want you to take down my phone number in case you want to call. The number is 501-437-2963. In case you didn't get it, here it is again. 501-437-2963. Sorry, but we can't accept collect calls. Our topic for tonight is Anti-Abortionists, Right-to-Lifers or Guarantors of Death. It's in the Survivor, Volume 3. The abortion issue is no big deal as far as overall survival is concerned. However, anti-abortionists are in a futile crusade which places an undue emphasis on bringing more people into an already overcrowded world. Furthermore, their misplaced idealism can only make matters worse for mothers who want to limit the size of their families and causes additional privation to our poorest classes. The Catholic Church has always fought birth control and is in the forefront of the battle against abortion. Their reasons are traditional and they are stuck with them. But for non-Catholics to become militant in such a cause is just another example of the irrationality pervading our culture. The most worrisome part of this issue, to me, is that our conservative element has been sucked into this silliness. The conservative is traditionally against welfarism and all influences toward a greater number of parasites in our society. Yet more conservatives are joining the ranks of the anti-abortion fanatics. This confuses me, and I have asked many of my conservative friends how this insanity crept into the right-wing movement, if such a movement really exists anymore. None could tell me how the issue got started in their ranks. It seems, however, that the religious elements borrowed the issue from the Catholics and sold it to the predominantly racist conservatives, somehow in the belief that abortion was decimating the ranks of the white population, which they believe is being outbred by minorities. Conservatives seem to envision happy, healthy white children playing peacefully in good homes, except for vain white women who want to retain their figures or want to work rather than take care of children. There are such, of course, but the fact is, the average abortee is indeed saved from a miserable, precarious existence, neglected, abused, and often brutalized by unwilling, poverty-stricken, ignorant parents. Most women wanting abortions are unwed, poor, drug addicts, and or non-white. Former Los Angeles Police Chief Ed Davis, running for the governorship of California, was quoted as saying that he was against state-funded abortions because they were racist. He contended that most abortees are blacks or Latinos. I disagree with his stand against state-funded abortions, but he's in a position to know the statistics. White conservatives should consider this before campaigning against state-funded abortions. Of course, the non-conservative anti-abortionists are against all abortions, but their main thrust is against state funding of such. An abortion costs the state about $150. Statistics show, however, that if the abortion is stopped, the taxpayer will pay many thousands of dollars rearing the unwanted child. Also, the environment such unwanted children are reared in will put a large proportion of them into the streets as murderous delinquents, leading to great property damage, loss of valuable lives through murder, leading to long and expensive prison terms. Whether state-funded or paid for by the mother, abortion is usually a kindness and no loss to society or the race. Regardless of the pregnant woman's reason for not wanting the child, the fact is that an unwanted child is an automatically damaged child. Even in middle-class environments, the unwanted child is emotionally abused and deprived of the love and attention a child must have to develop into a normal, outgoing, productive member of society. The fact that white middle-class delinquents are just as vicious and destructive as ghetto delinquents cannot be denied. They were unwanted before birth and ought to have been aborted. See pages 64 and 84 of Volume 1 of The Survivor. Anti-abortionists shrug off all such arguments with the reply that abortion is the murder of a human being. Exodus 21, verse 22-23 says, "If men strive and hurt a woman with child so that her fruit depart from her, and yet no mischief follow, she surely punished according as the woman's husband will lay upon him, and he shall pay as the judges determine. And if any mischief follow, then thou shalt give life for life. In short, if a man causes a woman to miscarry and lose her child, he is simply fined. If mischief follows, which would only mean the death of the woman, he dies. So the writer of Exodus obviously didn't consider the unborn fetus to be a living being with a soul, regardless of its potential. Otherwise, the man causing the miscarriage would have forfeited his life. If the Bible was inspired by the Creator, then the Creator doesn't consider the unborn an entity, but only a potential shell or vehicle for an entity. My editorial on page 64, volume 1 of the Survivor, showing diagrams from Psychology Today, proves the child is not human before its brain cells are properly linked up. Before then, humanity, the level of consciousness and awareness which differentiates us from the lower animals, is impossible. So neither the Bible nor science supports the idea that the unborn are human, despite their potential. So to force an ignorant, impoverished, and usually defective woman to complete an unwanted pregnancy is not only cruel and inhumane, but an injury to the species. Then there is the question, what is a human being? A Homo sapien, in my opinion, is only human after the brain has developed to the point where he is a potentially functional Homo sapien. Unwanted children seldom develop qualities which differentiate them from the lower animals. In the philosophical sense, I can see no rational objection to abortion. If you are an atheist, you can but see a fetus as a potential biological machine. Its abortion would only be the same as taking an uneconomical car off the assembly line and junking it. If you are a reincarnationist, you believe that the unit of conscious energy in the aborted fetus will simply drift around until it finds another female who has conceived, and hopefully a female better qualified to be a good mother. Modern Christians teach that when a baby dies, it automatically goes to heaven. Logic shows that the unwanted child has so little chance for a good Christian upbringing that its abortion would guarantee paradise, whereas its birth into an environment of chaos and hatred would practically guarantee its ending up in hell. An element in the anti-abortion mentality seems to be a hatred of women, even by other women. An unwed mother must pay for her mistake. A vain woman deserves to lose her figure. A queer woman should not escape the drudgery of the sanctimonious brood sow. For, after all, was not woman decreed by her Creator to be an incubator? These attitudes are hypocritical, and the expressed concern for the unwanted child is just crocodile tears. Abortion finally became legalized mainly because, throughout the ages, women who wanted to terminate their pregnancies have resorted to drastic and often fatal methods of abortion. I quote from Practical Birth Control Methods by Norman E. Hines, Ph.D., 1938, page 151. Yet our savage ancestors, the anthropologists tell us, regularly aborted themselves. So did the ancient Egyptians, Hebrews, Greeks, Romans, the early Christians, the early Chinese, and others from that day to this. That is what makes the social and legal control of abortion so difficult. The fact that it is an entrenched habit centuries old. The first known medical recipe for abortion, still extant in writing, dates from 2737 to 2696 BC in China, more than 46 centuries ago. If it is that old in writing, how old is the practice? Savages jumped on the abdomens of pregnant women or strung them up to a tree by a band about the waist. They used sticks as uterine probes, but more often relied on magic, even as their contemporary descendants do. Naturally, the risks were great, the fatalities high. But that has never been a deterrent. The will to control fertility has been too persistent. Increasingly, back-alley abortion mills sprang up, killing thousands of impoverished women. Wealthy women have nearly always had access to doctors who would give illegal abortions for high fees. If they couldn't find such a doctor here, they would go to certain European countries where abortions were legal. If state-funded abortions stop altogether, the back-alley abortion mills will go back into business. It should also be apparent to any anti-abortionist that since abortion here has been legal for years, hundreds of thousands of hospital workers have been trained to assist in legal and safe abortions. So abortions, although unrecorded, would become even more common, since the pregnant woman would receive no counseling against the abortion, as she is now by many doctors who perform abortions reluctantly. My strongest gripe against religious anti-abortionists is they're making the issue a moral one and extending it to those outside their own religious faith. I have no objection to a minister preaching against abortion to the women of his congregation, but to impose his views on women not of his faith is not only meddling but non-scriptural. There is no mention of abortion in the Bible. The nearest thing to it is in Exodus 21, verse 22, where if two men are fighting and a pregnant woman gets in the way, and the man fighting her husband hits her and causes her to miscarry, her husband can sue for damages. Actually, the Bible is the last book to refer to in defense of children. Biblical characters were notorious for slaughtering children of other ethnic groups and religions. In 2 Kings chapter 2, verses 23 and 24, Elisha the prophet was teased about his baldness by a mob of little children. He cursed them in the name of the Lord, and 2 she-bears came out of the woods and bare 42 of them. In Exodus 11, verse 5 and 12, 29 and 30, Jehovah killed all the firstborn of the Egyptians because the Pharaoh balked at releasing the Israelites. The Pharaoh was the offender, but what were Egyptian children to Jehovah? In 2 Samuel chapter 2, verses 13 to 18, David's child by Bathsheba was killed by the Lord because of David's transgression. The child was blameless. Then there is the infamous record of Moses' treatment of the Midianites. Now the Midianites were not an inferior race, at least in comparison with the Israelites. Midian was a son of Abraham. Moses married a Midianite, Zipporah, and had 2 sons by her, Gershom and Eleazar. Exodus 18, verses 1 through 4. Jethro, Moses' Midianite father-in-law and a priest, believed in Moses as God and was his mentor and possibly, unwittingly, the greatest influence of his life. You can see this by reading the whole chapter of Exodus 18. Yet Moses wiped the Midianites off the face of the earth, as recorded in the 31st chapter of Numbers. When the Israelites left Egypt, Moses wanted them to immediately attack and conquer Canaan. In Numbers 13, verses 1 and 2, Moses sends 12 spies to judge the strength of the enemy. 10 of the spies returned saying in verses 32, 33, and chapter 14, verses 1 to 3, that the Canaanites were too numerous and strong. 10 of the spies died of plague, supposedly because of their pessimism. Numbers 14, verses 28 to 38. Only Joshua and Caleb were spared, since they said it could be done. It is most likely that the spies who died went further into Canaan and contracted disease for which they had no immunity. Joshua and Caleb might have had natural immunity, but it is more likely that they hung back and were not exposed. Had they actually gone deep into the territory, they too would have seen the impossibility of success against the Canaanites. After all, it's not to be supposed that the Israelites, under Egyptian servitude for centuries, were a match for the warlike Canaanites. The 10 spies were simply giving a realistic appraisal of the actual situation. Because of this rational skepticism, Moses was angered and condemned the people in the name of the Lord to wander in the wilderness for 40 years. The unstated reason for this was to let those without military potential, all those over 20 years of age, die in the wilderness, leaving only the young and their unsophisticated offspring to finally return. They would then be toughened and ignorant and hopefully able to conquer the land. But even after 40 years of isolation from civilization, the Israelites, instead of fighting, went over to the inhabitants of Moab, who were Midianites, and their god Baal Peor, and Moses nearly lost his cause right there. Numbers 25, verses 1 through 3. If you read the books of Exodus and Numbers, you will see that the Israelites had no use for Moses or his God. When Moses was on Mount Sinai, Aaron, his own brother and right-hand man, made a golden calf, which the Israelites worshipped in preference to Jehovah. Exodus chapter 32, verses 1 through 6. In Moab, Moses, again in the name of the Lord, killed all the Israelites who had gone over to the god Baal Peor. Numbers 25, verses 4 and 5. Even though the ones who had gone over were murdered, a plague broke out and killed 24,000 more Israelites. Verse 9. Moses was a shrewd politician and used the plague to his greatest advantage. Plagues are caused by invisible microbes, viruses, bacteria, etc., and the primitives of that day were easily persuaded that they were sent by angry gods. Actually, the Israelites were especially susceptible to diseases. First, the 10 spies, freed from Egypt and having built up immunity to their diseases, died on contact with foreigners with other diseases. Then after 40 years in the wilderness, away from civilization, the wilderness-born Israelites were even more susceptible to diseases than were their parents. The Spanish conquistadores and their priests killed more Indians by their diseases than by force of arms. North American Indian tribes were decimated by such European childhood diseases as measles, mumps, chickenpox, whooping cough, etc. More of Napoleon's troops in Russia died of disease than combat. In the early part of this century, whole tribes of Eskimos were wiped out by the common cold given to them by missionaries. Tourists going to Mexico and drinking the water usually come down with the trots because of bacteria most Mexicans are immune to. After the plague, Moses had the upper hand, and so in the 31st chapter of Numbers, the Israelites attacked and conquered the Midianites. All the adult males were slaughtered. When the captains returned from the battle, bringing the women and children, Moses chewed them out. Numbers 14:18. And Moses said unto them, Have you saved all the women alive? Behold, these caused the children of Israel through the counsel of Balaam to commit trespass against the Lord in the matter of Peor, and there was a plague among the congregation of the Lord. Now therefore kill every male among the little ones, and kill every woman that hath known man by lying with him. But all the women children that have not known a man by lying with him, keep alive for yourselves. The extermination of every male Midianite and the non-virgins, many who might have been pregnant with male fetuses, wiped out the Midianites as an ethnic group. This was genocide, pure and simple. Further, the prey, including 32,000 little girls, were divided between the warriors and the non-combatants. Verse 27. Verse 40 tells of the tribute to the Lord, which was 32 little girls. Reading to verse 47, the same number was taken from the congregation's share and given to the Levites to sacrifice. So 64 little girls were butchered and given to their God as a heave offering. Scribner's Dictionary of the Bible says of the heave offering, Volume 4, page 38, But according to most moderns, heaving was not an act of worship, but only the preliminary act of detaching a portion from the rest of the carcass for the consecration. Numbers 25, verses 16 through 18, shows that Moses, supposedly under orders from his God, had intended to exterminate the Midianites all along. In fact, if you read the books of Exodus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, and Joshua, it will be clear to you that Moses aimed at the total extermination of every race and ethnic group in Canaan. Specific verses are Numbers chapter 21, verse 35, Deuteronomy chapter 2, verse 30 through 34, chapter 3, verses 3 through 6, chapter 7, verses 2 through 3, and chapter 16, verse 20, and it goes on and on. You can read all of that in the Survivor. I watched the TV series Holocaust and read Gerald Green's articles on it in the April 15 to 21 issue of TV Guide. In it he says, the destruction of Europe's Jews by the Nazis, a mass crime unparalleled in human history. Green obviously considers himself a Jew, so he is either a liar or is woefully ignorant of the history of the people he identifies with. Christians might believe that Jesus brought a new order free from racial hatred and benign to children. Matthew 10, verses 5 through 6, has Jesus saying to his 12 apostles as he sent them out to preach, Go not into any city of the Gentiles, and into any city of the Samaritans enter ye not, but rather to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Mark chapter 7, verses 24 through 39, tells of a Syrophoenician Greek woman appealing to Jesus to heal her daughter. Syrophoenician means she was a native of Syria in the state or province of Phoenicia, and as a Greek, she was a descendant of Alexander's colonists planted around Tyre and Sidon 300 years before. So she spoke the language and was a citizen, and the only thing that made her stand out as a Greek was that she was white among the brown Syrians. Jacob was a Syrian, as shown in Deuteronomy chapter 26, verse 5, and therefore brown, as were the Israelites, Jesus, and the Judeans, as are the Syrians and native Palestinians and non-European Israelis of today. When the white woman asked Jesus to heal her daughter, Jesus replied, Mark chapter 7, verse 27, Let the children of Israel first be filled, for it is not meet to take the children's bread and cast it unto the dogs. That was his opinion of white people. But the Greek woman abased herself before him, saying in verse 28, Yes, Lord, yet the dogs under the tables eat of the children's crumbs. This groveling by the desperate mother so pleased him that he pronounced her child healed. I don't believe that story, but it does express Jesus' followers' attitude toward whites. It might be argued that in Matthew chapter 8, verses 5 through 13, Jesus healed the servant of a centurion, another white. Of course, the centurion was a man and a Roman command officer in a dominant position over the Judeans. It was now Jesus' turn to grovel. Had he refused, or worse, referred to the centurion as a dog, that religious whites would be worshiping Odin today. After his crucifixion, Mark chapter 16, verse 15, has Jesus saying to his disciples, "Go ye into all the world and preach the gospel to every creature." This and most other references to the conversion of non-Israelites was after his physical death. Either his physical death completely changed his previously held attitudes of contempt for all non-Israelites, or his followers, having been generally rejected by the Judeans and having lost their leader, wanted to keep their game going and so were willing to seek foreign converts to stay in business. So the Bible, even the New Testament, holds no arguments in favor of preserving the children of any but those belonging to the congregation. Therefore, anti-abortionists using Christian morality to back up their arguments against the abortions of others in their own faiths are either ignorant of the Bible or are simply hypocrites. All right, now I'm going to run a 1-minute commercial for a product that you probably want to buy, so get your pencils ready, and when that's over, we'll start.
Odin, hearing quick Saxon coming over your car radio. Or how about taking that old car radio in your garage and converting it over to receive shortwave? Well, those things are happening at this very instant thanks to the BWM Enterprises Tiny Converter. The Tiny Converter takes a standard AM car radio and changes it over to shortwave reception. Tuning is done with your car radio tuning knob. Hookup is easier than a simple car stereo system. Plug your car's antenna into one end of the converter, your car radio into the other end, and connect to your vehicle's 12 volts, and bingo, you're listening to shortwave. The Tiny Converter comes in two models. The Model 49 covers 5.5 to 6.7 megahertz, and the Model 41 covers 7 to 9.65 megahertz. The cost is only $35 postpaid worldwide for each model. Only $35 postpaid. Make your check or money order out to BWM Enterprises. That's B as in Denmark, W as in Washington, M as in Mexico. BWM Enterprises, P.O. Box 87, Box 87, Hanover, Michigan, 49241. 49241. Hurry before you miss out on all the fun.
Okay, here I am again. The phone number is 501-437-2963. And the mailing address is P.O. Box 95, Alpena, Arkansas, 72611. And if you send in $10, you'll get a sample copy of, I'll get that later. Hello, Kurt Saxon here.
Hi, Kirk. I saw you on Jerry Springer this morning.
Well, they repeated it again?
Yeah.
My goodness.
And you held your own. You should have smacked that guardian angel sitting next to you. He was so unruly and uneducated.
Well, the thing was, he's a really nice guy, and he was really great backstage. But then when he got the camera on him, he had to
showing off.
Yeah, he was showing off. So I didn't mind him. He means well, but he just wanted to let people know that he was in no way associated with me. He didn't like me, at least as far as the audience is concerned.
Well, both of you are really going for the same goals. That's a safe society. And I heard your conversation earlier in this show about the Bible.
Yeah.
Are you saying that Jesus and his followers were brown people with afros? And and if so, are you saying that not white people, but the pale race of people are descendants of Canaan and therefore synagogues of Satan?
No. The white people are Caucasian.
Don't see the white.
Wait a minute
if
now.
you saw a white person, you take him to the morgue. I never seen a white person.
Okay. I'm pink and you're brown, right?
Right.
Okay. The whites came from the Caucasus, where it was up north. See, they didn't have a lot of melanin in their skin because they didn't need it.
So
now,
so you're saying what they really are is a being lacking in something.
Okay, they're lacking in melanin. Okay, but the people that the Syrians, for instance. Now you got a color.
The original Syrians or the Syrians after the Caucasus people came down?
No. The Syrians at the time of Jesus were the same color as the Palestinians today. See? Now, of course, then you go further south, and they become darker. It's almost like you get to southern Africa, and they're very dark, and then as you go up, they're lighter, and then you go up into Europe, and then they have hardly any skin. Aryans moved from the Caucasus down to India, and they colonized India, at least part of it, and they subjected the native Indians. That's how you got your caste system, see?
I read that.
The lighter-skinned Aryans from the north, which were probably from the Caucasus, subjugated the darker-skinned native Indians.
Okay, Kirk, I want to ask you this.
Okay?
Which is your God of choice? Which God do you prefer to worship?
I think.
Be honest now.
It's a lot better to think than to pray. I used to pray a lot, but I didn't get a pocket knife, so I decided I would think.
So now you believe in a misgod like most Christians do?
Well, it's sort of, I worship life, if you want to call that a religion.
Oh, you worship rocks and stones?
No. Rocks and stones aren't alive. See, but let's not get too much in religion, because I think...
I want to know exactly where you're coming from. Are you a satanic worshiper?
No. Satan has nothing
Am I
to do...
a Satan worshiper?
No. I don't believe in Satan. I never did. If you're recalling the time when I joined the Church of Satan, among so many other things, that was not really Satan worship. Anton LaVey didn't even believe in Satan. I didn't know anybody there who really did.
That's another story. But
yeah,
but other than your religious views, the stuff you're talking about with the survival and the food and ammunition, this is all excellent information.
Okay.
I listen every night.
Well, you should subscribe to U.S. Militia.
I already have.
Okay, you should get it soon.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay, buddy. Bye for now.
Bye.
Okay, the phone number again is 501-437-2963. And the mailing address is P.O. Box 95, Alpena, Arkansas, 72611. Here's another call. Hello, Kurt Saxon here.
Yeah, Kurt, I just got an opinion, and it's only my opinion.
Okay.
Okay, now, if you want to say abortion one way or the other, that child's born, it's totally dependent on the mother. So until then, until it actually comes out, it can't be murder.
Well, that's right. That's right. But, you see, I don't know where these see, I have nothing against the anti-abortionist who stands there with a sign, who is compassionate and loving and really believes that it's murder. I'm wondering about the people who sponsor this movement, the ones who put in millions and millions of dollars in the advertisements, and how they so color it. They show pictures of fresh, clean, loved little children, and they give the idea that these children would otherwise have been murdered, and I say that isn't true at all. And also, this one person, he's supposed to be an authority on it, he said that 50 million children have been murdered by abortion. Well, if you stop to think, now, here are 50 million mostly unwanted children in a country that's already overpopulated with 100 million social dependents. If those 50 million pregnancies had been allowed to come to term, our economy would have been wrecked before now. And I'm just wondering if the anti-abortionist guiders, the people who are putting on these things, are wanting to bring our system down by simply causing more and more unwanted children to swamp the system. You ever think of that?
Well, yes, but the same people who are doing that are taking away the Second Amendment. They're allowing the Mexicans to come up, have their children, and get the free welfare and everything.
Yes, that's awful.
So everything's all in the same bedroom.
Yes, so that's why I say take care of yourself and your loved ones, because you can't depend on anybody else. And if there's a plot, it's a plot to swamp our system and to keep everything alive that nature said would die.
Right.
And it's really a bad situation. We're looking at the collapse not only of our system but of our whole civilization, and the threat to all of our children's future. And so we can't. It's like this black guy running for mayor said it was genocide. Well, he knows. Actually, most of the abortees are black, and so it's these super patriots or self-styled patriots that are screaming so much against abortion, when all they're doing is that they want to usher in so many more black children to be abused and turned into criminals. Like, for instance, the 19 children in that house in Chicago. You probably heard about that. Well, they all should have been aborted before birth. They have no lives to live. They're going to be raised in foster homes, and they probably won't live long anyway. It's awful. So have compassion for the child that's born. And, also, if you want to get a kick out of life, you know these Feed the Children and the Christian Children's Fund? They usually got their advertisements on the TV all the time, and they got an 800 number. I called one of them up one time, and it was a very nice lady, and I says, well, now, all you're trying to do with these children, it sounds very good, but you ever thought of prevention? Do you people put out any birth control information? Do you encourage abortion so that we don't have this horror? And she said, oh, no. And so I said, well, you've got a pretty good racket going on there. It's perpetual. You're not doing anything to prevent it, but you're raking off a whole lot. And she hung up on me. I don't know why. Call them next time you see that 800 number. Ask if they're trying to prevent the misery they're taking so much money for.
I can't because it's not worth my time.
Well, okay.
I mean, honestly, because I got better things to do than put up with those people.
Yeah.
And it's just a waste of my time.
Well, okay, I
got other things I could be investing my time with.
Well, you can understand. You don't have to. I think you realize that you'd get the same reaction I did.
Because there's so much other stuff that I see going on in front of me that I know I got to take up arms against.
Yeah. Did you order the packet?
No, I'm going to though.
You ought to order the packet.
Matter of fact, tonight at the end of the show, laid off real slow because last couple of nights I'm in Pennsylvania.
Okay, I'll give it to you now. You got a pencil?
Yeah, but let me hang up then.
Well, no, let me give it to you while you got the pencil.
Okay.
Okay, it's P.O. Box 95, Alpena, Arkansas 72611.
All right. Spell Alpena.
Alpena. And for your $10, you get a sample copy of U.S. Militia, the only magazine on community defense, and Shoestring Entrepreneur, How to Sell Anything You Can Make or Grow, and David Koresh's Last Testament, the last writings he did before the fire, and that'll also give you $5 off on a subscription to either publication.
Okay. Now, with that forming your own local militia, that would be a state thing, because that's the only thing you can really form.
Well, it would be a community thing, not even a state. It would be a kind of security guard service and various community projects. But when you finally subscribe to U.S. Militia, you'll start out with 3 issues. I'm working on issue 4 now, and then you'll get the rest as they come out. But that will give you the ground rules and help you set it up.
Okay, perfectly legal, though.
Oh, sure, it's legal.
Okay, because I was under the impression that you can only form a type of state-style militia.
No, you can form anything you want. You just don't ask to form it, you just do it.
Well,
when you ask a bureaucrat anything, she's going to search around finding something wrong with it. But if you tell her what you're doing, then she'll just find the proper permission.
Okay, yeah.
It's a matter of attitude.
Sure. Okay, appreciate your time.
Okay, buddy, bye-bye. Okay, again, the phone number is 501-437-2963. And the mailing address is, here's another phone call. Hello.
Hello, Kirk. How you doing?
Doing fine.
I sent my money off for your packet, and I completely got your name wrong. I thought it was Jackson.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay. We filled an order for Kurt Jackson, so that might have been yours. It's on its way.
Well, super. Sure enjoy your program. I don't get the opportunity to call you in the evening.
Yeah.
Because I'm walking. Time I listen to your show.
What do you walk at?
I'm just walking my body just get my blood pressure lowered.
Well, if you jog, you wouldn't have to go any more than half the distance.
Yeah, but my knee won't bend but 35 degrees.
Oh, well.
So I just, goober along out there, but however, it does lower your blood pressure listening to your show.
Well, I'm glad. I bet tonight's editorial made a lot of people's blood pressure high.
Naturally, I'm sure of that.
Well, look, here's the way I look at it. Why does a person want to listen to something he's heard over and over and over and over? All of my editorials are things that I get excited about, and so I write my opinions and I do research on them, and everything is absolutely true, and they might make some people mad, but let them think about it.
Absolutely.
It's to everybody's interest to think. Even if I'm wrong, if I give a person a reason to think, then I've done him good.
Absolutely. The whole name of the game is thinking, and if you can't think, you don't need to be around, I don't think.
Well, too many people would rather not think. And that's dangerous for them because times are getting so hard that only the thinkers are going to live through this mess.
Well, I'm going to try to be a good thinker and sign out for now because we've got a Cub Scout function we've got to go to at 7. And so thank you so much.
Okay, buddy. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.
Now, if you got these Cub Scout functions and stuff and you can't hear all the programs and you'd like to get them, then you can order the tapes. They're $25 for a week's shows, or $6 each postpaid. I'll give you the address after this call. Hello, Kurt Saxon here.
Hello, Kurt. How you doing?
Doing fine.
I've been listening to you since you came on the shortwave.
Yeah.
And normally I find your program pretty entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
And but I think you ought to stick to subjects that you know something about.
Well, did you find anything that I didn't know in that article?
Well, when you start getting into the Bible...
Oh, I happen to be an expert on the Bible. I've written 2 books on it.
You happen to be an expert?
I am an expert on the Bible, yes.
Oh, Kurt, come on. You're no more an expert on the Bible than a man in the moon.
Well,
I mean,
explain.
You already profess Satanist anyways.
I am not a Satanist. I never professed being a Satanist.
And you sure ain't no Christian.
Well, are you?
You darn right I am.
If I should hand you a glass of water with potassium cyanide in it to drink it, would you do it?
Oh, why should I do that?
Well, because it says in the Bible if those who believe can do that and won't be harmed.
I never seen where it says potassium cyanide.
Well, I'll look it up. It might take me a minute, but it's right there. You see.
This must be in your version of the Bible that you wrote or whatever, right?
No, I didn't write the Bible.
And you know, see that runs right along your cockamamie thing with that Samaritan woman supposedly being white, and
well, wasn't she a Syrophoenician Greek?
She was a Phoenician, and she might have been part Greek, but she was mongrel.
No, she wasn't mongrel. It didn't say anything about being mongrel.
And it ain't got nothing to do with melanin and skin or anything else. You got to know something about races and eugenics before you start spouting off with the inane crap you were coming off with.
It's inane, not inane.
I say it inane.
You ought to do that.
Why not?
It's like the French say you can do anything you want as long as you pronounce it right. You're supposed to pronounce things right.
That is pronounced right. I think you're pronouncing it wrong.
Well, I'm still looking for...
I'm looking, yeah, I'll look up the potassium cyanide.
Yeah, okay. It's in the last few verses of one of the books. And I'm on Luke now, but let's not take everybody's time.
That's true. Let's not take everybody's time.
Yeah, I'll just, when I find it, I will read it to you.
But you're just stone cold wrong, and, you know, it's the first time I've you know, that I would actually say that after hearing you all this.
Mm-hmm.
But when you start getting into the Bible, you are not an expert. So
well, I tell you what. When you get you order the Survivor Volume 3, and then you look at that article and you check every verse and see if it doesn't check out. And if it doesn't check out, then I'll send you a whole set of my books free.
And check out with what?
Well, check it with the Bible.
Check it with the Bible. What, in the Hebrew or the Greek?
The King James Bible.
Oh, no. I say let's go back to what it originally was.
Well, you don't read Hebrew or Greek, do you?
True.
Do you read Hebrew or Greek?
No, but I can sure read a concordance.
Well, I can read a concordance too. That's
just to do that. You know, use your King James, but I think you better go a little bit beyond there before you start coming up with some of these ridiculous theories of yours.
Well, it's not theory. It's right there.
No. It's ridiculous theory.
Well, we could quibble all night.
People listen to that stuff, and you're going to lead them right on down to destruction.
Oh, I don't think so.
Oh, I do.
I don't think so. Well, I'm not preaching. I don't care if you bay at the moon. I'm not interested in your religion. As far as I'm concerned, religion is a preparation for an afterlife. And so it really doesn't matter what you believe.
Well, yeah, it does.
It matters what you do.
I am a soldier in the Army of the Unseen.
Oh, are you a subscriber to U.S. Militia?
Oh, no, but I have read U.S. Militia.
Oh.
Like Clarence. I think Clarence has really got on the ball.
Yeah, well, subscribe and get the other 2 stories about him. He's got a great one coming up.
Mm-hmm. Well, my word of advice is to stay out of the book.
Well.
Till you learn something about it.
Yeah, well,
Get somebody else on.
Okay, then.
Goodbye.
Okay, bye for now. Okay, the phone number is 501-437-2963. And, whoops, here's another call. Hello, Kurt Saxon here.
Yeah, Kurt, this is Joe from Hudson, Florida.
Yes.
And I've been listening to you for about the last month, and I was just wondering, who supplies the money for your broadcast? Where did you come from?
Well, the money comes from the people who buy my books. I pay the radio station $135 a night, so I don't need too many orders, now do I?
Well, you sure print those books up, Bill. I did send for a packet, but I'm sorry I did.
Well,
because I can't understand how for $10 you can print these fancy magazines. And then where did you get your information that blacks get most of the abortions? Have you ever stood in front of an abortion clinic?
Well, I just was going by what the mayor of Los Angeles said.
Well, I think the mayor's wrong. I think you're just putting out wrong information. I think what you are really is to counteract William Cooper and Tom Valentine, who tell the truth.
Well, I'm not trying to counteract them. I haven't even listened to them. I can't pick up William Cooper after he starts out the
you up all right, and he doesn't think much of you, and I don't either. I think you're nothing but a Jewish-controlled proselyte.
Oh, it's proselyte. Well, my goodness. Okay, the phone number is 501-437-2963, and the address is P.O. Oops, here's another call. Hello, Kurt Saxon here.
Yeah, Kurt, this is Edward in Tulsa.
Hi, Edward.
Is this Looney Tune night?
Oh, yes, let's hope so.
You're doing a great job. Keep it up.
I appreciate it.
Could I give a few plugs for some other shortwave stations?
Sure.
Programs? Saturday and Sunday, there's not much on, but on 7.355 megahertz at 9 p.m. Eastern, there's something called Dissonant Voices by the National Alliance.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's repeated at 11 p.m. on 7.395 megahertz.
Mm-hmm.
And also at 10 p.m. on 7.355. Did I repeat myself? Oh, okay, it's repeated again. And Sunday, 5 p.m. Eastern on 15.420 megahertz. And at 8 o'clock Sunday on 5.810 is something called Full Disclosure Live.
Mm-hmm.
So they're interesting programs, and there's not much to listen to on Saturdays, but those are good ones.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
You're very welcome.
Bye.
Bye for now. Okay, the phone number again is 501-437-2963. And the address for the audio tapes is Jeffrey's Audio, P.O. Box 326, Alpena, Arkansas, 72611. Hello, Kurt Saxon here.
Hi, Kurt. This is Stuart.
Hi, Stuart.
Listen, a verse you're looking for about the cyanide?
Yeah, I've got it right in front of me. I found it.
Okay.
Well, you give it to me. You give it to me.
Mark 16:18.
Yes, okay, read it.
Okay, NIV says they will pick up snakes with their hands, and when they drink deadly poison, it will not hurt them at all. They will place their hands on sick people, and they will get well. So when it drinks deadly poison, it won't hurt them.
Yes.
Listen, by the way...
Why won't it hurt? Well, what about the signs?
What?
Well, you see, I found it in Luke. Mark 16. It says, he that believeth and is baptized shall be saved, but he that believeth not shall be damned. And these signs shall follow him that believe. In my name shall they cast out devils. They shall speak with new tongues. They shall take up serpents, and if they drink any deadly thing, it shall not hurt them.
That's right. The one in Luke is better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, this is the last chapter of Mark.
Yeah, that's where I was reading last chapter.
Yeah, but you didn't finish it.
That's right.
See, so this is a sign of the people who believe.
Well, that's what happened to Martin Luther in the Council of Worms. You know, they put poison in the glass, and the glass broke when he went to drink it.
Yeah. Okay, see, if I don't think that man who called me up and was so irate just because of the difference of opinion would take a glass of cyanide, because I don't think he's any more of a Christian than my cat.
Listen, on the subject of abortion, you know what Solomon says? He says it's better for these mothers to abort the babies rather than them be born poor so they can't enjoy life.
Well, where did he say that?
That's in Ecclesiastes. It's chapter 6, verses 3 through 5.
Okay.
In fact, it's better than that. He says God is unfair because he doesn't cause them to abort.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, well, give me that again. I want to write it down and look it up.
Ecclesiastes chapter 6, verse 3 through 5.
6 verses 3 through 5.
Yeah, and you really got to start with verse 1 if you want to see where he's the God of not being fair because of it. Okay, I'll let you go.
Okay, Stuart, thank you. Okay, the phone number again is 501-437-2963. Another call. Hello, Kurt Saxon here.
Hey, Kurt, this is Mike. I'm in Central Texas.
Hi, Mike.
Been a fan of yours for a long time. I bought the four-man James Bond, I guess, about 15 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of switching gears on you a little bit here on the survival issue. I know you talk about having a lathe as being an important thing.
Yes.
And it's not necessary, I don't know if you're aware, to buy a lathe. You can actually build one with hand tools to a pretty exacting standard.
72963. Another call. Hello, Kurt Saxon here.
Hey, Kurt, this is Mike. I'm in Central Texas.
Hi, Mike.
Been a fan of yours for a long time. I bought the four-man James Bond, I guess, about 15 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of switching gears on you a little bit here on the survival issue. I know you talk about having a lathe as being an important thing.
Yes.
And it's not necessary, I don't know if you're aware, to buy a lathe. You can actually build one with hand tools to a pretty
437-2963. Another call. Hello, Kurt Saxon here.
Hey, Kurt, this is Mike. I'm in Central Texas.
Hi, Mike.
Been a fan of yours for a long time. I bought the four-man James Bond, I guess, about 15 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of switching gears on you a little bit here on the survival issue. I know you talk about having a lathe as being an important thing.
Yes.
And it's not necessary, I don't know if you're aware, to buy a lathe. You can actually build one with hand tools to a pretty
437-2963. Another call. Hello, Kurt Saxon here.
Hey, Kurt, this is Mike. I'm in Central Texas.
Hi, Mike.
Been a fan of yours for a long time. I bought the four-man James Bond, I guess, about 15 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of switching gears on you a little bit here on the survival issue. I know you talk about having a lathe as being an important thing.
Yes.
And it's not necessary, I don't know if you're aware, to buy a lathe. You can actually build one with hand tools to a pretty exacting standard.
Well, can you, would it be a metal lathe?
Yes, indeed, a metal lathe, and then using the metal lathe, you build a drill press, you use those tools to make a metal shaper, and a whole garage full of powered metal tools.
Well, is there a book on that? The survivors have a lot of the person who wrote that book is Dave Gingers. Could it be gotten in the library, or is it in print?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, Dave Gingers got the whole series of books there.
Yes.
The place I found it was a place called Lindsay Publications.
Yes.
And they've got a whole catalog of kind of lost technology books.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'll look that up, and I'll probably read it over the radio so people can order it. Lindsay does have a lot of good books.
Okay, well, I've got the address here if you want me to give it.
Well, okay, give it.
Okay, it's Lindsay Publications, P.O. Box 538, Bradley, Illinois, 60615.
Okay, repeat that.
Okay, Lindsay Publications.
All right, now, do they have to send money for the catalog?
I think it's $1, but...
Yeah, okay, and if they want Ginger's books, they should, because he's got a couple of different catalogs. One on just electronics, and the other...
This is almost all metalworking books.
Okay, just when you write for that catalog and send in your $1, and it's worth $1, then tell them you're interested in the Ginger's books.
Right. And so I think everybody will find that interesting. My question to you is how many volumes of Poor Man's James Bond and The Survivor are there?
Well, there are 4 volumes of The Poor Man's James Bond, and there are 4 volumes of The Survivor. I'm working on volume 5 of The Survivor now. There's actually 8, but I've got to put them together.
Okay. All right. I enjoy your show. And what's LeVay up to? Do you stay in touch with him?
Oh, no. I was a member of his church for a few months in 1967,
yeah.
And I get some things along the grapevine. I don't think he's holding any sort of services now. He's got some some branches that he sort of watches over, but I don't really know anything about it anymore. Once I get out of a thing, then that's it. I just take what I learned from it and go my merry way.
Okay. Well, thanks for putting the show on. I appreciate it. Enjoy the show and keep up the good work, Kurt.
I'm glad. Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, again, the phone number is 501-437-2963. The mailing address is P.O. Box 95, Alpena, Arkansas, 72611. Hello, Kurt here.
Hi, my name's Walt from Cleveland.
Hi, Walt.
Hey, I want to clear something up from last night's show.
Yes.
On the question about Burdan and boxer primers.
Okay.
Burdan was an American who couldn't get his primers sold in this country. So he went to England, and the Europeans adopted the Burdan style.
Yes.
Whereas Boxer was a European, I believe English, and he couldn't get his sold over there, so he came here. Boxer became the standard of the United States, whereas Burdan became the standard of European countries.
Mm-hmm.
They were used, Burdans were used until recently and still are in many calibers by all European manufacturers except for ones that are going to sell exclusively to the United States.
Yes.
So that they can be reloaded.
Yes.
Your caller was correct in saying that Burdan primers have 2 flash holes, whereas Boxers have 1. You can reload Burdan primers. You can buy Burdan primers. They're more expensive. They're a metric primer rather than the system we use.
Yes.
Whereas ours will not fit into a Burdan primer hole.
Mm-hmm.
And the easiest way to do it without hurting the brass is to get a metal or wood dowel the same size as the mouth of the case.
Yes.
So it'll just fit in snugly, and fill the case with water and then hit it with a hammer.
Mm-hmm.
And that'll hydraulically press the primer out.
Well, good.
So it seems like you were getting a lot of information that was kind of beating around the bush there, and
yes.
Nobody was quite hitting it on the spot. But you can reload them. If you had enough of them, I suppose it might be practical, but it really isn't.
Yes. Well, that's good to know.
There you go.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay, bye for now. Okay, the phone number again is 501-437-2963. The mailing address is P.O. Box 95, Alpena, Arkansas, 72611. Hello, Kurt here.
Oh, hi, Kurt. Let me turn my radio down here.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm calling you from Las Vegas, Nevada.
Yes.
And I have a question for you. How long have you been on the air?
About 6 weeks.
Okay, I was trying to determine when I...
About 7 weeks, maybe.
7 weeks. Okay, I was trying to determine when I sent in my $10 request or package. You'd been on the air for 2 weeks, and I sent it the 3rd week you were on the air, so hopefully I'll get your...
Well, now, wait a minute. Let me get my pen here. All you have to do is give me your name and your zip code, and what we'll do is we'll send you another packet, because when did you order it?
I sent it the 3rd week you were on the air because you'd been on the air for 2 weeks. I tuned you in and sent it in the end of the 3rd week that you had been on the air.
Okay, give me your zip code.
89107.
89107, and give me your name then. That way I don't want to take your address. We can look that up.
Thanks. It's Chuck Jeffrey.
Chuck Jeffrey.
Yeah. But it may come the end of this week or so.
Okay, I tell you what then. If what I tell people, the mail is so awful now. The best thing to get something is to order it right away instead of waiting, and because something's going to happen along the way to keep the mail up. In fact, something happened to our mail truck. We didn't get a mail delivery to Alpena, Arkansas at all today because the truck hit a snowbank or something. We hope that they get it tomorrow, but if it doesn't come within a week, you let me know, and we'll just send you a new batch.
Yeah, well, I'm not anxious. I mean, I'm anxious, but I'm not worried.
Well, most of the people have gotten it by now.
Yeah.
And I send everything out book rate now instead of bulk rate.
Okay, and I heard the first part of your show. I find it humorous, the individuals who call in with ingenuous remarks to say, regarding you. I just humors me. Why are they listening, or why they bother to call?
Well, I think they're very insecure. They they're probably not very accomplished, and they think they know something, and they want to show someone else that they don't know anything. But as far as the abortion issue is concerned, the abortion issue is mainly a lack of compassion for children, and all the compassion going to children who aren't born and shouldn't be born in the first place. And we've got all of these children who are living that shouldn't be born, and nobody seems to care about them. I wonder if that caller who was so abusive, if he has any little adopted children where he's gone to these unwed mothers and says, bring your pregnancy to term and I'll adopt the baby. I bet he hasn't.
Well, I think a lot of people in this country and this world don't care too much about anything anymore. They get on one bandwagon, and they care about one thing blindly, and they don't, they just don't really truly care about the whole picture of all of us. And
yes. Well, I should suppose that most anti-abortionists are good and compassionate people, but they don't think. So I just wanted to give them the whole issue, give them something to think about. Besides, if we did have the 50 million children that were aborted, our economy would be, well, we wouldn't have a country now.
Well, and that's a tough issue, too. I mean, because it's a very delicate issue, and it's hard to take one side. I'm still in the middle on that for myself.
Yes.
I feel one way, but my intellect takes me another way, and my belief takes me another way.
Yes.
And to combine all that is a very, very difficult thing to do, to come up with one answer.
Well, you see, there's really nothing we can do about it.
Which is true as well.
And so when the next civilization comes around, there will be no abortions, at least not many, because, I should say that they should have a law that if a person gets pregnant out of wedlock, they would get an abortion, and then they'd be sterilized, and then the person who did it to them would be sterilized too, and raise up a bunch of moral people, because your great-grandmother was a virgin when she got married, and so I bet your grandfather was too, so was mine. That people just, they breed like animals now. Sex is like dogs in an alley. There's no commitment. There's nothing like that. So that's why there has to be abortions. And you take some ignorant slut, gets pregnant, who wants that person to be a mother in the first place?
Well, that's a very good point, and the point, I think, is what is well made in the sense that there would be no need for abortion. In fact, there should be no need for a law. People should have the moral sense before there has to be a law in place.
Yes. Well, you see, our society has gotten totally out of control. Even in Boone County, Arkansas, which is all white, the illegitimacy rate is 50%, and there's more churches in Boone County than any county in the country. There's also more pickups in Boone County than any county in the country.
I'd like to state two quick things here.
Okay.
For one, I'm not out there creating illegitimate babies, so I, personally, am not part of that issue.
Well, bless your heart.
Two is I know I've given, your radio frequency out to every one of my friends.
Yes.
And many of them are tuning in, and everybody seems to enjoy what you have to say, and the direction. It seems to be a very reasonable, factual, just things that we can do to help our lives be better.
Okay, pick up on that. Okay, thank you very much.
Bye.
Okay, bye-bye. Now it's sign-off time. I'll talk to you tomorrow. So this is Kurt Saxon saying goodbye and be good.